drinking wouldn't have allowed me to explore this other area of me and kind of was keeping me at this level. Like drinking, when you're drinking a lot, never elevates you. It never progresses you forward. All it does is just keep you here. Keeps you here. You know, you never have heard anybody ever say that I am really glad I started drinking again. Nobody's ever said that because there's no reason to be glad if you've stopped and you've seen the positive aspects that drinking has made towards your life being improved in every way, shape, or form. It's like there's no reason to look back, and that's where I'm sitting right now. I'm really not even like, oh, I'm 100 days sober. I hope I can make it 100 more. I'm almost like drinking isn't even a thing for me anymore. I don't drink, and life has gotten so much better without drinking in every way. So I know a lot of people hit me up on Twitter about being sober. I know a lot of people always ask me questions about it. So I've been thinking about this for a long time. I want to form a place where people can get together and talk about issues with addiction. It doesn't have to be limited to alcohol. It can be any other addiction. I know there's every addiction out there. And even if you're having a hard time in life with depression, if you're having a hard time in life with your family, with work, anything, I know that everybody needs somebody to talk to, and not everybody has somebody to talk to. So I'm going to use Ruin Your Day as a platform for that. Every week on Wednesdays, I haven't decided a time yet, probably around 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to have Ruin Your Day live for an hour. And basically what's going to be happening is the chat is going to be live, and that's going to be used as the floor for everybody to talk. I might be on a video feed answering questions to the chat. I might pull up some music that Ruin Your Day made to play. I might play some video in the background. It's going to be sort of a free-form vehicle type of feed. There's not going to be really a set thing that we're doing. The only thing that I want to go on is I want people to feel like it's a safe place to come into and talk and vent, talk to other people, maybe give advice. I'll be in there if anybody wants to ask any questions about being sober. I can give whatever advice I can for that. And yeah, essentially, I just think there needs to be a place like that. I think AA works really well for a lot of people because it's a community. It's a strong-knit community. You have a sponsor that holds you accountable for not drinking. You have other people that are going through the same thing as you. You realize there's a whole world out there of people that just don't drink. And that's rare these days, honestly. So I want there to be a place like that on Ruin Your Day doesn't have to be just limited to alcohol. It could be anything. You know, like my parents went through some heart problems this year, and that really devastated me. So, you know, I needed somebody to talk to about that. My ex-girlfriend's dog that I really love got cancer. My close friend just had cancer. So it's been tough for me as well this year, and I'm really thankful that I've had Ruin Your Day to talk to you guys about battle rap and forget about the troubles in my life, but I want to give back, and I want to create a platform where we can all come together and sort of be each other's shoulder to lean on every now and then. So just wanted to make this video to talk about me getting sober, my experience with it. Honestly, to wrap this up, being sober is like probably the best thing that's happened to me in a long time. Me breaking up with my ex-girlfriend that I love to this day has been the best thing that's ever happened to me too as well. It's really like jump-started me to make big improvements in my life that I'm really proud of. And yeah, I mean, I think anybody out there that's struggling with addiction, the first question you need to ask for yourself, if you're thinking that you might have a drug problem, alcohol problem, any sort of problem, is if I'm asking myself if I have a problem, I might have a problem. Do you want to take the next step to solving it? Do you want to get clean? Do you want to get sober? And all I can say is being sober is amazing. It's great. I would never trade it for anything. It works really well for me. Other people can drink responsibly. I'm not one of those people. I can't drink responsibly at all. So yeah, guys, I just want to thank you all for helping me through my year of sobriety. You guys really made a huge difference in my life. I want to thank everybody out there that supported Ruin Your Day, all the patrons, all the people that did a watch episode, all the guests, all the people that tuned in for watch, everybody that bought merch, everybody that bought music. It means the world to me. So thank you guys. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Ruin an Hour, a safe place to talk about anything from sobriety, addiction, depression, anxiety, balance in life. My name is Kyle Gray. I'm the host of this show. We are live 2 times a week, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and Sundays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I hope everybody's doing good out there in the quarantine. I know that this has been a very, very different time and period in all of our lives, and it's taken some getting used to for sure. And I know that people that suffer from anxiety, depression, and any type of addiction, it's been a struggle to be quarantined, possibly lose your job, not be able to see your family members and friends as often as you would like to, really be isolated. I know that's been difficult. What I can hope is that everybody uses this time as a tool to grow themselves. But I just want to talk today about something that's been happening for as long as I can remember, and seems like with the advent of technology and with our ability to share more of what's happening in the immediate now at our fingertips, it's just become more prevalent and well known. With the most recent incident with George Floyd being murdered by the police, by literally like kneeling on his throat. I just feel like this is something that happens too much now, and it's like when is this gonna be enough? Like when are people gonna be held accountable for this? This has happened so many times that I can remember, where the people that are sworn to protect the community get away with blatant murder with every sense of evidence at our fingertips, and they just walk away with maybe no job. To me, that's not justice at all. And to me, I definitely empathize with people of color being afraid of the police. You have every reason to. And I'm self-admittedly very nervous about discussing this subject because I'm white. But it's something I get very emotional talking about. I used to live in a black household. My ex-girlfriend's mixed and her mother's black, and so I think it resonates with me pretty deeply. Not only beyond that, just justice for straight up murder at this point. It's like recently it feels like it's just been getting stacked and stacked and stacked with atrocities against the black community, especially against the black community, in my opinion, here in America. From my vantage point, might be a different perspective to other people, but from my vantage point, it seems like especially against the black community. And being an art form such as hip hop, myself, I just feel the need that I should use this platform to talk about it for this hour. From George Floyd being murdered, from Mr. Aubrey being shot by two white men for jogging and allegedly committing a robbery, but from the looks of the video, nothing of that sort at all, and not like that crime is justification for straight up murder. For Oscar Grant, the 22-year-old that was straight up murdered by the BART policeman, unarmed, on accident. Eric Garner, who was suffocated by a policeman. Michael Brown, in St. Louis. The list goes on. The list goes on, and it's becoming so suffocating to even me that I cannot imagine what it's like to the people it affects their everyday life, that when they walk outside, their safety is on their mind. When I walk outside, my safety is never on my mind. I'm never like, I'm afraid of walking down this neighborhood street with a hoodie on and somebody's gonna kill me for wearing a hoodie and being black and being 13 years old and walking in a neighborhood just wearing a hoodie and having a can of fucking Pepsi and Skittles on me. That's never on my mind. So I cannot imagine what it's like for people that deal with that every single day. And that's kind of where I just want to discuss that, I guess. How does everybody feel about this? Because I would imagine if this was always happening to white people, these stories would be a lot different. If there was ever footage of a white man being suffocated and died, if there was a 13-year-old white kid that was murdered by a person of color, this would be a very different story. If tear gas was shot into the dozens of people that were protesting COVID-19 here in California, rather than the people that were protesting the murder of a member of their community, it would be a different story. And it's so apparent, in my opinion, that I'm confused why nothing happens. Nothing ever happens. It just gets swept under the rug. White kid breaks into a church and kills multiple people, and he's escorted peacefully to a police car. A guy selling a pack of cigarettes is strangled to death by a cop. The grave weight displacement of injustices in this country is so glaring and apparent that what should happen? How should justice proceed? I feel like not only are the systematic, financial, and political cards stacked against every person in America that's black or Hispanic or a person of color in any way, shape, and form, but now you have this. Now you have to be afraid of the people that are to serve and protect you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess like I just get very emotional talking about it because it's like I just think it's so horrible, and it's something that is so horrible, but yet we've grown accustomed to it, almost like mass shootings here in this country, where we're like, oh, another white kid murdered a bunch of people. It happens. What are we gonna do about it? You know, like it happens. Saying it happens is like a way of us consoling ourselves. It happens. Police brutality. You know. Police brutality is a common thing here in the Philippines. Nobody is safe. I like that you try to put yourself in others' shoes. Of course, our back is against the wall. The courts are against us. We cannot debate it away. Protesting and firebombing doesn't work either. So what is the best way to proceed? I'm gonna read this quote. I talk about this book very often, but this book written by Damon Young is incredible. It's called What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Blacker. And two quotes come to my mind. I posted them on Twitter quite often, but I like these quotes a lot. They come to my mind when I think about these type of things. It's just so fucking much to always have to be angry and alert, to always have to be ready and willing to challenge whiteness, to always have a perfectly pity tweet or 1,000-word screed ready to in response to the next Trayvon Martin, the newest Sandra Bland, and the latest Eric Gartner. And to feel all the same feelings again and again, I just want to fucking break. Yeah, it's just like, this keeps happening over and over again, and nothing ever changes. Nothing ever changes. It's like, it's like, it makes me horrible to say, but even I like forget about Sandra Bland. I remember that came out, that was a big deal. But the way news moves in this day and age and everything. It moves so fast that it's just like we forget. And then we forget like the horrible atrocities committed against the black community. And then it's just on to the next one. The next flavor of the month. What's going to happen now? I really don't remember his name, but I remember the man that was like grabbing, he was reaching in his glove box and got shot live on an Instagram feed. If you guys can help correct me about that gentleman's name, but I forgot his name, but that happened. And it's just like, it happens so much that I literally forget. And this would not be the case if those were white people. And that's what's so frustrating about it, is that it's so apparently extremely racist, and it's going on right in front of us, and just nobody's doing anything about it. Philandro Castile, yeah, that's right. That him, yeah. So it's just like, it happens so much that it's like I even forget. I think with the mix of history of racism, the openness of gun use, and political divide, it just creates a system that is hard to fix. Yeah, I mean, the odds are definitely stacked against people of color in this country. They literally have almost no power. They're not in any great positions of power politically, financially, at all. Here in Minneapolis, we're hoping for nothing less than life in prison for these cops. Are they going to be tried? I know they lost their jobs, but that, to me, this is so wild, because there's footage of them murdering somebody, and all that happens is that they lose their jobs. I know that there's like police code and all this other bullshit, but what the fuck? Why are people not in jail over this? Why are they not on trial? Like, and how is this just gonna keep happening over and over? Like, it's just like, they lose their jobs, they get rehired somewhere else. They can go to a new apartment with zero issue. The courts side with them. They get kicked off the force and probably go into private security and make even more money. The one cop that was kneeling on him, he was involved in a murder investigation in 2006. Amy brings up a pretty good point. White people who are for it don't necessarily know how to be for it, even if they're down, so anyone who is black, brown can educate. It's so much appreciated. I agree with that. Flow easy, of course. They're protesting at his house. A war is breathing, Avo. Sad to say, I'm all for it. Yeah, I mean, what the fuck? The same cop did evil things years back and didn't get in trouble. It was told that him and his other buddies murdered someone 40-something other times. Yeah. I'm like trying not to say anything like radically charged right now. I'm trying to really remain neutral as much as possible. Whatever that means. But, I can say from, my personal experience, and what limited personal experience that is, that growing up skateboarding in Colorado, being a white kid, being overprivileged, I've never had a good encounter with the police. I mean, not like bad like this, obviously, but there's never been a situation that I've ever been in where the police have shown up and made things better. And I can't imagine what it's like for other people. But I do know police officers, and I do know good people that are police officers. And I know that everybody says that. So it's hard for me to say that, because I hate saying that in the face of this, because it doesn't feel like anything you should say. Of course. But I'm really afraid things are going to get much worse with this pandemic going on. Even so-called sane people are losing their minds. The crazies are going to capitalize on the fear. The good cops speaking out would help. That's exactly right. If there were good officers, why didn't they speak up? You're 100% right. And if they're good officers, why? The thing that has always puzzled me is, like, why don't they just put him into a cop car? Why did they have to kneel on his neck? That, like, why the unnecessary use of force? Why, when a kid is unarmed, do you pull a gun out? Like, what is the fear that's embedded in that job that every policeman is afraid for their life so much, and especially against people of color? I sincerely yearn for a moment when a prominent figure, celebrity, or what have you stands up and actually says enough is enough. I'm going to fight. Meet me here. Let's see this. See what kind of group we can form. I'm assuming you're about to say. And especially black males. Yep. That's right. Pass. No such thing as a good cop. If you're in a bad system, you're a bad cop. I can see that perspective. I can definitely see that perspective. Who's going to police the police force? Yeah, that's a good point too. Running the cop through courts won't work. Rioting won't work. There's only one solution to me. Jay, what's that solution? Apparently cops can get fired for speaking out against corrupt cops. It's a damn shame. They shoot to kill now. What happened to shot in a leg and arm, especially if trained? My dad had someone he knew that always had a throwaway piece. He said he started the RYDs in Miami, so he moved to the Pittsburgh area. The only way to stop war is war. G.W. Williams, that's wild, man. How's it going out there? The American police attitude has literally never changed in the history of American police. I saw this 30 years ago with Rodney King's situation as a teenager, and it has continued since then. It has. If anything, it's gotten worse. Maybe it's possibly hasn't gotten worse, but at least the knowledge and spread of it. I saw some buddies say that we need to stop sharing videos of black people being murdered. And I see the perspective on that. I guess the counter perspective to that is, wouldn't Arbery never be, like, the two men that killed Arbery would have never been brought to justice or brought even to trial unless that video surfaced? To me, it seems like the videos, albeit horrific and really just like emotionally gut-turning, like they seem like they raise awareness that's very important in this day and age, to say this is happening, this is still fucking happening. You know, you saw that video a while ago, Rodney King 30 years ago. It's still fucking happening every day here. Nothing's fucking changed. We need to pay cops more and have them lose their benefits faster and be jailed. Other countries have full-on ARs for their police, and they don't fire as many rounds as one encounter here. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different... There's so many different layers to this that it's so difficult. But I mean, at the bottom, I can't believe that this has happened in front of us. Callie, please show us you stand with us. Of course, man. Of course we stand with you. Every time something like this happens, I'm scared to leave my house. For sure, man. I mean, it's very frightening. For those of us who are with it, willing to be vocal, what can people really do to express ideals or whatever else? Amy asks. I think people are more so upset about all the retweeting, constant images of black bodies being shoved in our faces, and not so much the videos being made public. You're right, though. People need to see it. I understand that perspective, Pass. That makes a lot of sense. Because like, not only are you overwhelmed with it every second you breathe, but then you go on to social media and then it's the same thing. So I understand that. That makes a lot of sense. I have the number to the DA office in Minneapolis. So would calling them help? Like, would just overloading their office with like complaints of injustice help? It's truly triggering, not in the truest sense. Yeah, I can see that. Would you guys feel safer with the military policing the streets instead? Don't think so. I don't think. I mean, I'm not here to say how I would feel safe being a white male. I have no place to talk. But I'm not trying to be an expert here. I have no solutions. I just feel like this is something that we need to talk about, especially on this show, because I feel like anxiety and depression in the black community, I feel like this is a cause of a lot of it too. The fact that you don't feel safe in your communities and like you protect yourself, and we have this force that's supposed to serve and protect, which does the opposite, which murders you. It's the complete opposite of what it was set out to do. So I don't have the solutions, or I have no real experience to talk from. All I know is that what I see, and it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. The change really starts when people who aren't black call on their white buddies to be accountable for their actions. Lo, I agree with that. How would you be accountable? I'm asking personally. Is there more representation via black cops in certain communities important, or is the system that incentivizes shooting to kill, assuming intent, too overwhelming? I don't know. I've never seen, to be honest with you guys, I've never seen a video like this come out of a white person. I've never seen cops accidentally kill a white man or a white woman even. Think about that. Sandra Bland is a black woman who was killed in jail, and still it's just nothing happened. Like we still have no justice for that. I've never seen a BART police officer shoot somebody in the back, that was white and get away with it. It's just, maybe it happens. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm open to being wrong. Trust me, I'm very open to being incorrect, especially in this realm where I'm very nervous about it in general because I'm white. But I've just never seen it happen. I think about this all the time. I think about this constantly. I think about how mass school shootings are always white people that do it. Mass shootings are mostly white people that do it. I think about how, to be honest, kind of uncomfortable I am around a bunch of white people now, just because I don't know. It just feels unsafe sometimes, and I don't know. It's just maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm ingesting only a certain form of media. That's very possible, but I feel like it's just overwhelming, the evidence of it. So, and the thing about it is I'm just worried that I'm going to talk about this one time. I'm going to talk about this in the show, and I'm I almost fucking was in tears at the beginning of this, and nothing's going to happen. I'm going to go on with Ruin an Hour for the rest of the time and not bring this up, and this is just advocated because of George Floyd's death, and I'm really scared of that, and I'm scared of it being swept under the rug. So I haven't seen the 13th Amendment. I know it's a show. As people put in position of trust and protection, police should face much harsher criminal charges for brutalizing or murdering their very citizens they are tasked with protecting. I agree. I agree with that. Thank you. If you're a white, act on it, not speak about it. Use your platform like me to start a chant. Salute. Thank you, Mal. Appreciate that. These people do not care about your life. They know this world does not have a timer. Nobody knows what's beyond death, so no one has been and back. Joey. These videos are getting disgusting to watch. Rip, R.I.P. Ahmed, and George, vote black. I agree. To be honest, I didn't even watch the video. Like, I would never want to see that. You know, it's horrific enough that nobody stops it, but I understand the fear of nobody stopping it because, you know, the police have guns and the police are the biggest gang in the world, and they will do nothing to stop, like, their cause. The thing is, if someone kills a cop, you will have the whole region gunning for you, even if you did it in self-defense. 100%. 100%. You hurt a cop. Some cop's beating you up and you actually hurt him, you'll be in more trouble. Muhammad, whites are the majority, so what's your point? Mark Hogan, thanks for tuning in. Going through a lot, nothing compared to what's going on. Never understood the whole they're just trying to protect themselves and their family BS argument. As a cop, you should prioritize de-escalation over killing, even if that means you're dying. I mean, in ways I agree. That is what you signed up for. That is your job. You're trained. I remember seeing something like that go on, like when the guy was murdered for looking in his glove compartment. Talking about how they're trained, they go through school to be trained in this types of situations, but yet the citizens who face no training are supposed to remain calm when they have a loaded gun pointed in their face. Of course, Lo, thank you for being in here. Big love for bringing attention to this and having a convo on this platform. Where this convo may not happen in a lot for some of these folks. I agree. 8 months of training is laughable at best. And people were mad at Colin Kaepernick for taking a knee during the national anthem, and this cop took his knee and murdered this guy. Word up. Find strategies to work towards changing the system. The system isn't going to change, though, because there's no reason to. Like, this is like firing a couple cops or moving them to a different precinct or facility, like, holds no weight within the system. It's just like literally just shuffling cards around. You know, it's just this whole systematic model to put in place to put people in prison and keep them there and make money off of it, and then do it at any way possible, and then it just seems like the people employed by these systems are somehow fit a personality type that will take trying to arrest somebody to another level. Frequently. The fact that this is so frequent and none of these people get put to justice is just so radically unfair. And yeah, like I said, it's like if I think any of these videos were to come out and it be a white person at the other end of the stick, this would be a whole different discussion. Think about if it was a white blonde woman that was killed by a policeman. Think about how up in arms white America would be over that. So it's just horrible. And even like Zimmerman got away with murdering a 13-year-old boy who didn't have a gun, you know, and he walked free. Ironically, he could have physically overpowered the cop, but cooperation with the law led him to being killed with no resistance. I mean, that's true with a lot of cops. I mean, it's not like cops are like the biggest people or physically fit. I mean, I look at a lot of cops like they're out of shape bums, and I'm just like, why should we be afraid of that? But literally, they're like, they have like a Batman artillery on their waist of just weapons to hurt you with, guns, and it's just fear that inflicts in your mind. So it's like that's why you don't stand up to it a lot of the times. Still alive, profiting off that murdering. It's frustrating. Yeah, word. I mean, the face on this cop didn't even change once. You can tell he was, I don't know what that word is, aware of what he was doing. It's flat out murder. Here in the city, they killed Freddie Gray, nothing happened. No name for now. Honest question, if America isn't meant to support people of color, why do they continue to immigrate here? It sounds like self-sabotage, personally. I guess the way I would answer that is that the veil of opportunity is great here in America, and the thesis of America is a really great thesis, and it's a really great foundation, but it's still built on a lot of extreme faults, and racism being one of the biggest ones. And it's something that we can fix, that is possible to fix. It is like we have come so far in such a short amount of time. You know, it's like we can keep going with this. We can keep improving it. We can't just be like, well, this is it. This is as far as we're gonna come. No matter what, like, we're just gonna always like have cops killing people of color. Like, that's just what happens in this country. It's like, nah, shit can change. Shit can change, and we can fix this and like grow from this. It's very possible. You know, this happens in this country a lot, and it might happen in other countries too. But we are like one of the leading countries in this world in every way, shape, and form. And the fact that it happens here is just ridiculous. Amy, appreciate it. Thank you. Majority of police are mentally and physically weak, hence the prosperity to resort to lethal force. We need an entire overhaul. They are not here to protect us. They're here to uphold the law. There are a lot of people of color here who are not immigrants. George Floyd was not an immigrant. Very true. On fixing things, at a certain point, violence becomes necessary for change. Pac talked about this. When the unrest is too much, blood will be shed. And as fucked up as it sounds, it may be more productive. Danny, of course. There's nothing new in the Black and Latin communities. This has been going on since the dawn of America. We just now have the cameras to document it. Very true. Very, very true. I mean, yeah, so it's just, it's very disheartening. To be able to actually cause someone to never breathe again, even if it's just self-defense, has to kill part of your soul. It's pure evil to do it and over because someone's color is different. Very true. Police are patrolling areas where they fear or hate the demographic of the community. That's BS. Vlad interview with Michael J. White speaks on the mentality of the majority of people who want to be police. My definition of white privilege. I don't know. I don't know how I would define white privilege other than just being able to have every opportunity in the world and being able to act on it in whatever way, shape, and form I please. Like, I have every opportunity for education. I had no financial issues growing up. There's like every opportunity for a job. Nothing is held against me in any way. What, Ben?
Safety nets.
Safety nets, Ben says.
That's the biggest thing.
Cool. Majority of these cops were picked on in high school, and they use the power they're given and use it for bad. I mean, that's probably a gross overgeneralization, but I'm sure it happens for sure. We have to sit back and watch ourselves be murdered, and we can't even fight back. That's not right. Yep, word up, Danny. Very true. There's no such thing as a good cop. There's bad cops, then good cops that see the bad ones and they say nothing, and then there are the good ones that stand up and speak out, and then they get fired. So yeah, I guess you're right in that sense. There's no such thing as good cops because they could just get canned as soon as they start being a good cop. I understand wanting to stop racism, but how can you change people's mindsets when they are stubborn as it is? I mean, that's the thing though, is everybody can change. Everybody can shift. You know, mindsets aren't something, also racism is something that's learned. Racism is a learned characteristics of humans. It's not something that we're born into. It's not like I have a brown eye, you know? You can change your perspective on anything in life. It just comes with education and experience. So I think that people that are stubborn with racism have every much ability to change as people that are open with it. It's just, I think also the generations, people are stubborn inherently. Like my parents' generation is very stubborn in every way about everything. And that's because that's the sign of the times they grew up in. It's even like, I feel like we've given people, we excuse people that are of an older generation when they're racist because like, oh, that's just how it is. But the thing is, it's maybe how it is and maybe what they grew from, but it's not how it is now. It's not right. So it's like each time you kind of fail to speak up against it, you're in some way condoning it. So I don't know. I think that being stubborn isn't an excuse, and definitely not an excuse for the way that it's been spread throughout systems of power in this country either, in the least. For sure, being only half white, I've experienced drastically different situations in different parts of the country, depending simply on my own sun exposure or hairstyle. For sure. You know, I dated a woman that was half black, half white, and she looked white, like to the core. And people like all the time would like, if they didn't know that she was mixed, they would be like hella racist, and they would speak openly about stuff. But oddly enough, it's people that are of color could tell that she was mixed. But yeah, I'm sure you get treated differently. I have a few friends that are NYPD. They go in with great intentions, but the system changes them even though they want in to make a difference. I mean, I kind of look at like the police force as like similar to this, like you're going into like prison and being like, I'm not gonna hurt anybody. It's like, nah, you're gonna go in there and you're gonna adapt to your surroundings. Like you're one person. You're not gonna like be able to do good in a sea of influence and a model that's set literally to move in one way. You're gonna sit with the current and you're gonna ride the current. So it's just like, I feel that's why like in that video you see like nobody stopping them. You see people just standing there, other cops just standing there, because it's like, you know, that's what they're trained to do. You cannot be a cop while trying to change the police force. Totally agree. One time, Human, what's up, man? How you doing? One time, my buddy walked outside to smoke a cigarette, and 5 minutes later, I walk outside to see the cops talking to him about something down the block from us that literally he couldn't have done. Yeah. They are protectors. Only time they should be using force shouldn't be lethal force and should be to protect others, for sure. Of course, Amy, I think it's an important subject. I mean, just what do you guys think realistically needs to happen? Officer related death, not it's police murdering somebody? Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I mean, if this happened to a white person, this shit would be completely different. This shit would, like, imagine if a black police officer murdered a white person. Shit would be 100 times different. What we're doing right now in this chat is one small step towards to change these kind of platforms in which we are currently be ultimately censored or providing more case for change. You have to try the entire system. Legal laws need to change, but I don't think that's realistic. Accountability, try the system. Moved from Baltimore to South Carolina. I'm a white male and I've overheard vocabulary here in South Carolina I've never heard in Baltimore City. I'm sure. They need to not just fire them, they need to be prosecuted and be tried for murder. They go too light on cops. They definitely do. They definitely do, to say the least. I got arrested like 4 times in high school because I fit the description of some local robberies in Compton. I don't even live in Compton. Oh my God. It's ridiculous. Those cops need to go to jail. We need to reform the entire system of police, beginning with their training. Fighting racism is a huge part of it, but it's a longer road, unfortunately. Yeah, they need to be convicted. I mean, I think that's the first step for sure. Just not losing your job. Even when they're prosecuted for killing unarmed citizens, they're usually acquitted. Overthrowing the government either by force or from the inside out is the only option at this point. Cops need less privilege. They shouldn't be able to stop us for anything. If you think we're breaking the law, file a police report. Then they should investigate it only when we're safe. All cops that kill people just get slaps on the wrist until some are convicted. No one will move forward on this issue. Are there any good examples in any other country of police forces that prioritize de-escalation over shooting to kill? Genuinely curious. Yeah, Rohan. In Iceland, literally, I think like 2 years ago, they had a whole, like in Reykjavik, the state capital, or the country's capital, they had a huge, like, memorial service for the death of somebody, which was the first person ever murdered by a policeman. Granted, Iceland has few people, but still, in the entire country's history, it's never happened. It only happened one time, and they had a big, like, memorial service over it. The cop that watched it happen also should be tried for murder. Yeah, he's an accomplice, isn't he, at that point? Yeah, honestly, I think, like, the law should be harsher on police because it's like they're literally upholding the law. So it's like when they violate it, they shouldn't be like, oh, well, you know, you did what you could. Like in the situation, it's like, no, you did what you shouldn't have. And, you know, you have training against this and, you know, you're blatantly wrong and you should be tried for the utmost and get the maximum possible every single time, you know? We shouldn't give the police force the benefit of the doubt because they are trained to do this. This is their job, you know. Granted, it's a very difficult one and it's a dangerous one, but you signed up for this. You signed up for this job. The police protect integrity and don't have any. The police recording literally couldn't do anything or they would have had their lives taken or destroyed. I agree with that. Like when a situation like that happens and there's like multiple police officers, recording is literally the only thing you can do to ensure you'll be safe. Like if you ever, you know, tried to do anything, you'd probably be in the same situation as them. And it's like the horrible reality of the situation. Yeah, police do hate recordings for sure, which is, yeah. There's like so many other people I left off this list too that I'm like remembering. Like, it's just like stomach churning that this is like you can just like literally throw like a pebble in any direction and hit like multiple police brutality cases that we've like heard of over the past like year, you know. Agree with that, Robert. For black people, the police are literally an extension of the overseer on the plantation. Many KKK members swapped their sheet for a blue costume. Definitely don't disagree with that. Do you think justice would ever be served? I hope so, but historically, there's nothing to say that it will be. Like, it just seems like everybody gets away with this all the time. And that real justice is never served. Avo, I'm a person of color and all my friends are also people of color. We're all against police brutality, but what else can we do to help initiate change? I don't know. What do you guys think that we can do to help push this forward? Our tax money has been invested into more prisons and more wars than schools. It's the future that politicians want because it's good for business. America was built on the back of slavery, still is. Word up, Lucho. Word to that. The cops make the justice system money, and that's why it probably will never change. Yeah, it's the whole business aspect of it, for sure. Infinity Ripper, for sure. It's got to be hard, but that's the thing. That's like it's got to be hard, but you're literally part of the problem. You're part of the problem, and you have every ability to help change. If you're in the police force now, you have an up over everybody right now because you can demonstrate change if you really choose to. You can get fired for it, so be it. You know. And then, really, what's the end? What is the worst that happens when you get fired from the police force? Like, how much are you guys? Are they really paid? Not that much. They lose their job. They can go get a job somewhere else. I'm sure. That is like a laughable slap on the wrist. Totally human. I agree with that. Part of the problem is that our legal justice system is monetarily driven system in capitalism. Definitely agree. We rioted back in our city for a cop killing back in 2001. We were promptly put in martial law for the summer. The cop was transferred, but we're equal, right? So that's all that happened. The cop was just transferred. They lose their pension, the real reason they want their job. Yeah, word. That's true. Forgot about that. No, I agree with that, Rohan. Super messed up, but given how things are, we have to live with the reality of race instead of claiming we don't see color. Oops and B-Dot actually brought up a good point about that, about how that's kind of an offensive term because basically you're discounting all the struggles that people of color go through when you say, I don't see color, we're all equal, because we're not all equal. That's not true. A black man in this country does not nearly have as much opportunities as a white man in this country, no matter fucking what, period. That's just a fact. And this, in its sense, is just superior evidence of it, of what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people that like are within the past 10 years have been murdered by police and nothing has happened over it. And I cannot think of a single time that has happened to a white person. So, but yeah, I feel like you should have the police inherently police the bad police, try them as citizens, no protective, no custody, slaps in the wrist. This whole thing is insane. I'm still getting over the last murder. I know. It seems like literally it's just like one after another. It's like nonstop. No offense to anyone white, but blacks might have to start segregating ourselves and own our communities. That's how we need to start change. No offense taken. I could see that perspective. Plenty white folks been killed by the police? Name one. Honestly, name one. I'm not like challenging you. I just like don't remember or ever see it happening. All I can really remember is the kid that killed a bunch of people in a church and the police stopped him and they like handcuffed him and politely escorted him to a cop car. Or like I've seen videos of white men chasing cops with shotguns and they don't get shot. So, see, the thing is, okay, this is the problem with that argument of saying plenty of white people have been killed by the cops, but you say, give me a minute. You can't do the same with black people. Like, you can say plenty of black people have been killed by cops, and it's not, give me a minute, let me do some research and pull up some names. It's literally, you can just say the names that you've heard within the past week that are in the media. You know, it's very rare that it happens. How many unarmed white folks? Exactly. Like how many like Oscar Grant, take that kid for example. He had no gun on him. He was handcuffed and shot in the back. Has that ever happened to a white person? So, I don't know. I just don't think that's like a good comparison, you know? Like, sure, I'm sure there are people murdered by the police that are white, but it's just not, you can't compare it at all in the slightest, especially when this happens so frequently and it's covered so much, you know? Especially in this day and age when it goes viral, because you fucking better believe, dude, if some white teenager was shot in the back while he was handcuffed by a cop, that shit would go so viral and like white America would be standing up and protesting left and right. So, but yeah, I don't know. Felt like talking about that today. Hopefully we talked about something worthwhile. Sometimes these conversations feel like they can just go in circles because no justice is ever served. for these crimes committed by the police. I'm going to leave you guys with another quote that I've posted on Twitter a couple times, but I love it. Once again, it's from Damon Young, the author of What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Blacker. White supremacy is so gargantuan and mundane that sometimes its existence and its proficiency can't be measured, addressed, or even seen without a stark change in perspective. It isn't like gravity, it is gravity. It's a ceaseless pressure intended to keep blackness ground-bound and sick. Really like that quote. All right, guys, tune in 20 minutes for round for round. We got Surf taking on Calico. It's going to be interesting going from this to that. But hope everybody's doing good. I know that this is not the best of times, but we got each other, don't we? And I'm always here if you guys need to talk. You can email me for any sobriety questions or hit me up on Twitter or anything like that. Hope everybody in Minneapolis stays safe. I would suggest not going outside because I don't know what's going to happen. But, yeah. Stay safe, everybody. I'll see you guys in 20 minutes. My email, I'll post my email right now in the chat. kgray@rydordie.com. I didn't spell com correctly. That's it. All right. All righty, everybody. Have a great day. I'll see you guys in 20 minutes. Peace out.